Hello there, Ray here, and today I will be showing you my automatic obsidian farm that uses my ender crystal wither cage that has been upgraded. So I upgraded the wither cage just because in 1.11 the boats were no longer staying on top of the ender crystals, and then when the wither was summoned, the boats would just fall right through the ender crystal, and here I actually have the boats actually sitting on top of the wither, so they're not actually sitting on top of the ender crystals. The way that you summon the wither in is very similar to the last design. I will put a link in the description to my last design because that will explain the entire process, how you get the ender crystals in and how you get these blocks in here, as well as a lot more than this will explain. But you can see that the summoning is almost exactly the same. I do have a top slab here, or bottom slab right here, holding the boats up. And I do have 3 boats instead of just 1 boat. This way, by having 3 boats, the boats above them kind of push down in this boat and it compresses it. And that way the wither is, even if it hits this boat, it won't be able to make the boat fly up at all because they're being compressed down by the boats above them. Then I also have a slab up here just holding them down. Now the way we summon them in is almost exactly the same. You just come in with a skull, put your last skull in up against here, you have the wither here, then you put the water in for the wither, and you'll be in survival. You come up really close, so as soon as he summons in, he will automatically kill you by his explosion, and then once you respawn, you will be at whatever you respawn at. Now here we have the exact same setup as prior. We have a bed, which the player will sleep in, and this will set his spawn point right here in the bed, and then every time he gets out of the bed, he'll be placed directly into the entrance end portal. I also have the same type of system set up as before, so if you want to have the piston remove the possibility of going back into the end, you can either have the piston break the bed, or as someone pointed out, you can also have a piston just block the spawning space. So after so many day cycles go by, there is a dropper here which will drop items into this chest here, and then once the power gets long enough, the power will come and power this piston, which will block this spot. The player will no longer be able to go into the end dimension. Instead, he would just say that his bed is blocked and he'll be placed at the world spawn point or near it. So let's say we get in our bed and we sleep in it, and once we leave our bed, we be placed directly into the entrance end portal and we place into the end dimension. Here you can see that the wither main head right here, this one here, you actually see he is looking down at this target right here, which is this iron golem. And then we have 2 side heads. Both these side heads are looking off to the side at this iron golem over here. Now, because the side heads are the ones shooting, they are currently shooting their skulls off down towards that direction. And this guy over here, his skulls are just hitting over here inside this indestructible ender crystal, which is not doing anything. Where this guy's skulls are actually coming and hitting the main body of the wither, which is causing him to get damage. This allows him to do his block breaking ability, which will break all the obsidian in this area, and then the obsidian will be collected by the hoppers and placed into the chest over here. Because the wither actually damages himself, there is no need for snowballs or blocks being placed inside the wither's head to actually damage him. This way he will automatically break the obsidian blocks around him all by himself. This is considered a self-damaging wither, and by having this, we don't actually need that much room to actually place this whole contraption into it. So to operate this farm is exactly the same as my previous version, where the player will be placed on the obsidian platform, and all you have to do is have a weight hold down the forward key, and your player will be automatically walking towards the X end portal. And this way he just walks from the obsidian platform to the X end portal. Since it is a straight line, you'll notice that right above us we have some beacon effects, and we have a regen beacon just for the hard mode players, because in hard mode you will take damage after your hunger goes out, start taking damage, and this way the regen beacon will prevent you from starving to death. We also have a speed beacon just to make the journey from there to here a little bit faster. Now if you have completed the end where you killed the dragon, you will not get the credits. You automatically placed at your spawn point or near your bed. You can see the player was placed right here. Now even if the piston did block this spot, and then you retracted the piston, and the piston was no longer here, even though the bed looks like it can place you here, the bed, once it's seen that the spot was blocked once, it will no longer place the player here. It will be placed at your spawn point. So if you retract the piston, be sure to sleep in the bed again. That way the bed will remember to place you here. With a setup like this and having 1 player run, it will produce 1,800 obsidian per hour. And if you have 2 players run, then it'd be double. If you have 3 players run, then it'd be triple that. So you can get more out of this farm if you want to. Now this wither cage by itself is pretty stable. I ran this for 2 days and didn't have any problems. The biggest thing you need to worry about is actually enderman. So if you're just going to run this for like a couple days and get tons of obsidian and then just kill the wither, then I wouldn't worry about it. But if you're going to try to leave your wither here, then you will want to probably take more steps to actually prevent enderman. Now you can see if I press F3 and G, you can actually see that this iron golem here as well as this iron golem over here are both within inside of this chunk, as well as this wither here, so that all these entities, when they are loaded at the same time, they'll all be processed at the same time as well. This way the withers will see these guys as their targets. Now one thing to keep in mind is that you don't want any other entities to be closer to the main head than this entity. So this is the main head entity, and you don't want an enderman to be any closer than that guy right there. So this way you want to keep the enderman away. Now also, same goes for side heads here. You don't want them to be able to see any other entity that they could attack other than this iron golem here. So because of this, you will probably want to put up a wall right over here just to prevent the side heads from seeing like endermen. If there's endermen over there, that would just block it so they can't see those endermen over there. Now you also want to keep endermen from being on top of here, because if endermen are actually here, then they will be closer to this wither than these iron golems. And then if you happen to reload this chunk, not necessarily when you come into the obsidian platform, but if you log off here and then reload it, then these endermen will actually be tracked by the main head instead of this iron golem. So, and because of that, you will probably want to come up and then put a block up here just to make sure that no enderman can actually be any closer than this iron golem is to this wither here. And best to keep the enderman as far away as possible. So I would advise probably lighting this area up. But like I said, it's not necessary if you're just going to run this farm for a couple of days and get obsidian. But if you want to leave that wither in there, then you do want to take steps to actually try to avoid endermen, because endermen are the biggest problem. The reason why the actual wither cage is very stable when you're actually using the obsidian farm versus not using it, because when you're actually using the obsidian farm, once the player spawns here, the enderman can only spawn within 24 meters of the player. So the endermen are already spawned pretty far away from the wither here. Now as the player walks this direction, he will cause more endermen to spawn, and the majority of them will kind of spawn right here in the center. Now as the player walks all the way to this direction, endermen over there by the obsidian platform will despawn. Now once the player is over here, most of the majority of the endermen will actually be right here. And then once you complete this loop again, the player will be placed back over here. And overall, the majority of the enderman spawns will be placed in the center, and that's where they'll stay. They don't really actually have too much problems with endermen. So if you want to know the distance where to place the iron golems from the wither here, you can see underneath of these hoppers, we got about 4 meters down, we got an iron golem over here, we got about 8 meters, then we got another iron golem over here. This way you can place the iron golems in the correct location. So I will have the world download in the description prior to me actually summoning in the wither, so that when you get this world download, you can actually practice summoning in the wither before you actually do it in survival. And do check out the previous video before you build this. There you have it, guys, my 1.11 fix for my automatic obsidian farm that uses my ender crystal wither cage. So if you found this interesting, show me a like. If you'd like to see more technical Minecraft, subscribe, and don't forget to comment. Bye bye!